Hey guys, it's Dennis here with Revog Games, and I want to talk about the game A Township Tale that released on the Oculus Quest a couple weeks ago. And this game is kind of this multiplayer crafting action. I've never really played Minecraft before, but I assume this is kind of what Minecraft would be in VR. You can team up with like about 8 people on a given server in a land. It has a lot of potential to it because you can do a lot of crafting, you can work with other people, but altogether, it's very frustrating playing this game. And I think I want to talk about the 5 biggest things that I think they need to fix before people really can get into it. Okay, the first thing is the tutorial. The tutorial you have at the beginning of the game. Tutorials are supposed to explain how you're supposed to play the game, how things work. This really doesn't. It has a lot of little things that you can do that kind of teach you halfway or even 25% of a particular thing, and then the rest is kind of for you to figure out, like it's a puzzle game, but it's not. A lot of minor little things, like they have lists that tell you, checklists telling you you have to go do X, Y, and Z. But once you get to that part, it doesn't actually explain anything. For example, they tell you to go into the mines to mine some ore, but they don't tell you what the ore looks like. They don't tell you what tool to use to mine it, and then they don't know they don't tell you how to build any of the tools, to be honest. You have to kind of figure that out yourself. And there's a lot of things in the tutorial that just don't really have a clear indication of how to do things. And I think this is like the number one thing they need to fix, because the tutorial is like almost like the small little world before you go into the actual game, and yet there's still not enough explanation on how to do anything. I mean, you don't even know how to pick up stuff, which kind of leads me into the second point. The second biggest issue I have is grabbing items. It's kind of a little convoluted. They use a system similar to what you see in Half-Life Alyx, or even if you just played the recent Sniper Elite VR, where you can use the grip to kind of use gravity / whatever force or whatever you want to call it to bring the item to you, so you don't actually physically have to go over to it and pick it up and bend down and pick it up. However, in this case, you actually have to use the grip trigger, or actually no, you have to use the trigger to aim at the object you want, hold that down, then use the grip trigger to pull it, and then yank it. And so it just makes everything a lot more complicated. And not only that, there's certain items like grass where you can't actually do that. You actually have to go bend down into the ground and pull it out, and therefore you can get it. And then also sometimes even the stuff that you can pull out of the ground, like a rock, it doesn't work all the time. Sometimes you do everything you're supposed to do and just doesn't work. Another main issue is inventory and storing items. So you have kind of a waistband that you can put certain items. You can put big items on the left and right, and then you put small items. There's slots for, I think, 2 or 3 slots for items in the center for smaller items, and then you have a backpack which you have to actually build in the tutorial, which, you know, that whole thing is is a mess, because they don't really actually they kind of tell you how to do it, but not really. Anyways, so storing items is just a pain in the ass, because every little item, you know, that you need to fit in there doesn't fit, so you have to constantly be pulling your backpack out to put stuff in there. It's just not that intuitive, and it's also not very user-friendly. For example, Saints and Sinners, the Walking Dead VR game, you have a similar system, but you don't have as much crafting in that game as you do in this, and so you kind of have your weapons to your side, and so you have what you kind of need immediately at access. And if you pull out your backpack, it's usually something maybe you just need to go into your reserves to get, or whatnot. Maybe your gun breaks and then you go get another gun. In this game, it's just like there's a ton of stuff you need immediately, especially with all the crafting, but you just have to organize it and put it into your backpack. And I know you can upgrade your backpack and upgrade all these things later on, but as of right now in the beginning, it's very hard to do. The fourth thing that I found to be kind of very frustrating is when you're adding friends. So it sounds very cool in theory, where you have a name card, you go into your settings, you get the name card, you pull it out, and you give it to someone that you want to kind of connect with, and you become friends with them. So you would think you grab it, and then you let go of it, and it kind of floats there in mid-space, and then you figure they could grab it, and as soon as they grab it, suddenly you're friends. Well, that actually doesn't work. What you actually have to do is you grab the nameplate, which is also not that easy to even get out, and then when they grab it, they have to physically grab it from your hands, like almost like it's a handoff, and then, only then, becomes your friends. And it's not very explained very clearly. Me and this one guy had to figure out, like, after 10-15 minutes of running around reading the tutorial messages and realizing, oh, you actually have to physically hand it to them. You can't just like leave it and they grab it like normal games. Now number 5 is, okay, lots of bugs, like lots of big bugs. I know, the game is considered version 0.0.1.2, so they're basically saying this game is very, very early access. I'm very surprised that Oculus even allowed this game onto their store, because Oculus, from personal experience, trying to develop VR games for Oculus Quest, they're very strict on things, and the fact that they allowed this game to be on the actual store and to purchase, look, it's only $9.99, so it's not expensive, but the game you're getting is even comparable to like an early access game on Steam, which this is like early access. But anyways, back to the bugs. There were so many bugs. So the first time I played, one of the things you need to do is chop wood, and I literally grabbed the axe and I was like, okay, cool. I watched how the tutorial did it, and I started chopping the wood, but nothing happened. I kept hitting it, made a sound, nothing. And then, it just confused me, so I kept running around doing other things and came back to it. Didn't work. Finally gave up, reset my quest. Guess what? It worked the next time. Another issue is when I was building a backpack. One of the last items you need, you need sticks in general, but one of the last things you need to do is put a stick at the top. And I've been putting sticks on this whole backpack the whole time, and it was fine. And for some reason, the stick that I was trying to put onto the last part to complete the backpack wasn't working. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. Lo and behold, I went outside, picked up a stick off the ground, and put it on, and it worked. So it made no sense whatsoever. Just another bug that just makes you really frustrated on how things work, because it's you don't know what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, because one, the tutorial doesn't explain anything, and then two, you have bugs like this that make things a lot more difficult. Another thing, a big thing that happened was after you finish your tutorial, you go into the actual game itself, and I went there and there was a checklist of things to do, and go find the blacksmith, go find the carpenter, go find town hall, find all these things. And the first 2-3 times that I actually went into the game, none of those things were there. I kept running around looking for them. It was just a bunch of empty space, and I thought, wait, is this part in the map somewhere where I just can't find it? But no, my most recent game that I played, it was right there to be seen with signs and everything, and it was just there, easy to go to, and it just wasn't there before. And then now I think because they had a patch that kind of fixed this problems that maybe a lot of people were encountering. All in all, these are my 5 biggest issues with the game that I think they need to be fixed. Like I said, at the core, the game has a lot of potential. It's fun talking to other people and trying to figure things out, even though I don't think that's exactly the point of the game. I think a lot of these things need to be explained much better within the game versus trying to, figure things out with a stranger, and trying to, in simple things. I'm not talking about like puzzles, but like there's just all these like simple things like putting together an axe or putting together a torch, or all these things are just, you kind of have to figure out your own. And even the grabbing stuff on the ground, that was something I watched a YouTube video about that told me about that, and I there's nothing in the game that actually teaches you that. So anyways, that's it for me. This game, I'm gonna play it some more. There's definitely something there at the core of this game. I think it right now has like a 4.2 or 4.3 or something like that rating on the Oculus Quest store. which is pretty high. I'm actually surprised it's that high considering the frustration level that you will have playing this game. But I think it's one of those games where, okay, once you kind of figure out everything on your own after many, many, many hours, you kind of start to see what the game is about in terms of the interaction with other people and crafting and exploration and all that good stuff. So anyways, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Revog. You can find us on Twitter at Revog Games. You can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero or on Instagram, dennis.tzng. Until next time, see you guys later.